Hi, everybody. Welcome into Coach's Corner West here from the Pizza Hut in Bucyrus. This is the final show of the season as we have the last three spring sports from Bucyrus, Winford, and Buckeye Central. Coming up later this evening, we will have the Bucyrus softball program with head coach Pudge Hargis, and a little bit before that, we will have the Winford softball program with head coach Jamie Jennings. We would like to say that this show is sponsored in part by Doug Lithold and Adam Weisner and associates at Advanced Fiber Technology, Coach Tim Plumley at Mohican Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, Matt Studer at Spitzler Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Kia, 1 mile east of the Richland Mall. But up first, we do have the Buckeye Central baseball program with head coach Chad Jensen. Thank you very much for coming out tonight, Coach.
Oh, thanks for having us.
So last year you come off of a record of an 11-18, 8-8 in the Northern 10 Conference. You guys were able to sweep Mohawk and Ridgedale last year, so 2 league sweeps on the season. But you do lose 2 seniors, Darian Albright and Tommy Phillips. So talk about what it's like losing those 2 seniors on this baseball team this year.
Yeah, Tommy was a 4-year starter for us, so and a leader vocally on and off the field. So losing Tommy, we've had to adjust to losing him. Darian was a role player, those 2 guys where they meant a lot to us, but at the same time we got a lot of experience coming back.
So I guess losing 2 seniors isn't a lot, but you did mention Tommy was a big part on and off the field. But you guys do return 7 seniors, if my numbers are correct, including first-team All-N10 pitcher Alex Kanney.
Right.
So you're definitely looking forward to them on the field. And just talk about what this team has strength-wise.
Yeah, we return 10 letter winners and 9 starters, 9 out of 10 starters. So we return just about everybody. We return our top 5 pitchers, including Alex and Kaiden Vaughn and Clay Green, our top 3. So we have a lot of experience coming back, a lot of kids that played a lot of innings last year. In fact, we have all 11 wins returning. So none of Tommy played regularly, and he just played first base for us. So the bottom line is last year we lost 9 games by 1 run or extra innings. 15 of our games were decided by 1 run or extra innings. So we had a lot of close games last year, and we're hoping to this year with the experience we got coming back, we kind of flip that script, and we're on the good side of that.
So just kind of like what I mentioned last year, what are some things you guys have been able to do from the end of last year through the off season to now to try and build off of what you did last year?
All our kids are 2 or 3 sport athletes, so they've all played. A lot of our kids were on the golf team, and they competed for an N10 title and came in second, or they played football, or they played basketball in the winter. So and a lot of our kids played in the summer. They all played in our summer program for us, or they played travel ball or whatever. Basically, almost all our kids played at least 2 or 3 sports. So the thing with us is, they went out and competed, as seniors this year, or underclassmen or whatever. They all competed in other sports. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. If they're seniors, we have 7 seniors, and they're hungry. They want to be successful. And they want to end their senior year on a good note. So I think the biggest thing we've done is just they've gone out and competed, and then there's some finality when this is your last sport. So I think that's going to be a big motivation. Like
I mentioned, you guys did have an 11-18 record, 8-8 in the Northern 10 Conference, meaning so you probably played some pretty tough non-league games last year. Is that on the schedule as well this year?
Yeah, our non-league schedule was a bear last year. It seemed like everybody we played was having their great seasons, and we lost a lot of those games by 1 run. And the N10's a bear. There are no gimmies in the N10. So for us to go 8-8 last year in the Big Ten, that's what it feels like, the Big Ten. I can tell you that. In the N10, I think was we obviously want to do better than that, but that it's a challenging league. So this year we feel like, again, it's kind of the same thing. We're seniors now, so hopefully a lot of those non-league games. Hopefully I know a lot of teams we played were senior dominated, so hopefully we can flip the script and turn those into W's.
You did mention, though, like with having all those seniors, what other team strengths would you describe this team having outside of this strong senior leadership?
Well, I think starting pitching. I think starting pitching, it's pitching and defense. I really think pitching and defense. I think we should be pretty good. I mean, we return all our pitchers, we return our catcher Casey Geisman. We return all our infielders. With the exception of first base. We return all our outfielders, I think pitching and defense. The biggest thing for us moving forward is that, last year we were a little inconsistent hitting the baseball. So, that's one thing we have to do better this year is be able to score runs.
Thank you, Coach. Before we move on to players, we would like to say this show is sponsored in part by Rob Luss at the Edgefield Animal Clinic in Marion, Matt Ramsey, John Ziegler, Drew Young, Frank Heinlein and Associates at Bucyrus Blade, serving worldwide markets since 1951, as well as Roger Brown at Winks Lock and Safe, South Poplar Street at West Warren Street in Bucyrus. Up first, we have Alex Kanney, and Alex, I understand you are a pitcher. So talk about some of the importance that is being a pitcher, having to deliver the ball each time.
Well, your guys look forward to you to get them an easy ground ball or strike out the batter, obviously. But it's a role player on the team. As the pitcher, you're running the pace of the game. You're running the whole game yourself, but you have your guys to back you up at all times. And that's a nice thing knowing as a pitcher that we have a great defense behind you, and that really helps.
So last year you were a first-team All-N10 selection as just a junior. So talk about how you're going to try and build on that heading into your senior year.
Definitely put in the work, put in the strengthening, and working on getting up the velocities, working on lots of control things to keep that going with my pitching.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight. Next up, we have Lane Bauer. Lane, what position are you on the team this year?
First base and right field.
So being a first baseman, being an infielder, talk about some of the strengths you have to be able to field the ball well.
So first baseman, it's all about communication, telling your team how many outs, where you're going with the ball, and that's something I want to take pride in, and being that leader and just telling and letting the kids know and not making that error that will change the game.
So would you say you rely more on your offense or your defense to help out the baseball team overall?
I like the bat in my hands. I'd say offense. I really like to hit, so.
Lane had 8 doubles last year as a sophomore, so he's now he's a junior, so he's definitely ready to take that next step.
And that just kind of relates to that strong upperclassmen leadership you guys have on the team this year.
Right.
Well, thank you, Lane, for coming out, and good luck this season. Next up, we have Manny Mullins. Manny, what position are you on the team this year?
Left field.
So being out in the outfield, I know I didn't play baseball myself, but I know those guys got to be fast. And just talk about some of the importance it is being an outfielder.
Mainly, it's just I want to make sure that I can catch the ball and everyone can rely on me to make that play when the ball's coming to me. I want everyone to know that it's an automatic out when the ball goes to me.
So last year you guys did compete very well in the N10, and I know your non-league schedule wasn't great, but just talk about some team goals you have coming up for the team this year.
I want to win the N10 this year. I think that's not an easy goal, but a perfect goal to set.
Right.
It's definitely not easy.
Not easy, but it's a perfect goal to set because I think that's something we can accomplish.
And outside of you guys, obviously, you guys want to see yourself at the top of the pack. What's another team in the Northern 10 Conference that you see competing for a league championship?
Winford, for sure.
Gotcha. And I believe, did Winford beat you both times last year?
Yeah. They swept us last year, and that was, I think, definitely that was probably our worst 2 league games of the year. And,
Gotcha.
and take nothing away from Winford because they beat us. But I think that kind of sits in the back of our head that, honestly, those were the only 2 N10 games that we didn't compete in.
Right.
And, I think that kind of sits with us.
So you got them circled on the calendar coming up
we
this year?
We always have Winford circled on the calendar, as they always have us circled on the calendar. So it's we love competing against them as they do against us.
Well, thank you very much, Manny, for coming out tonight, and good luck this season. And then finally, we have Kaiden Vaughn. Kaiden, what position are you on the team this year?
I'm a pitcher and I play second base.
So being a pitcher, I'm sure you rotate in with Alex, and he's a great pitcher himself. Talk about what you try to do when you implement yourself there in the bullpen to try and help the team out.
Consistently, I like placing the ball in good spots for my team. Like trying to get a ground ball out there or a pop fly, just something easy for them to get out.
Would you say you prefer playing pitcher or second base?
Pitcher.
Gotcha. So overall, what would you say you rely more on? You talk about your prowess on defense. Would you say you're a good offensive player as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are some personal goals you would have for yourself coming up this year then?
Not strike out as much as I did last year.
That's certainly a good goal to have. Thank you very much for coming out tonight, and good luck this year. Before we talk again with Coach Jensen, we would like to remind you this show is brought to you in part by Lee Plymel and Brad Seibert at the Plymel Insurance Group, Bucyrus and Galleon, Hannah Newton at Wendy's, downtown Bucyrus and Upper Sandusky, and North Central State College, Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center in Bucyrus. So this year, Coach, what are your numbers looking like 9 through 12?
We're 22. We have 22, so we will have a JV team again, like we always have, and it's a solid number. All across the region, JV teams are dropping, so we're real fortunate to be the smallest team in the N10 by far, and have a JV team. So we're happy about that.
So your first game, I'm going to guess, is probably kind of towards the end of the March. Who do you play?
We open up with Fremont St. Joe. We got a doubleheader here at Buckeye.
So I'm sure so early in the season, but what do you know about them? How do they play?
What we do know is that they lost everybody. They had a real nice couple of years there where they were really good, and we played them in this opening doubleheader for quite some time now. And they had 7 seniors last year, and they're all really good ball players, and they lost them. So they will be kind of where we were, a couple years ago, just kind of not a couple years. We didn't play in 20, but where we were last year, just trying to find ourselves, and that's where they're going to be.
So, we mentioned you have some pretty good pitchers. Lane enjoyed having the bat in his hand, like you mentioned. So what is the biggest thing you're looking forward to with this team as you take on the season?
I think I'm looking forward to this season because these are veteran guys. These guys, they have played a lot, and they played a lot of baseball, not only for us, but they played a lot of travel ball. I mean, these kids have put in the time for baseball. They really have. So I'm really excited. I think last year we kind of got snake bit. I think it just seemed like everything that could have went wrong at times did. I think we learned from it. But, here just shows you what our season was last year. We swept Mohawk, and they made the regionals. So that tells you, kind of where we were.
Yep.
We are obviously right there, and that kind of opens up, and that's kind of how our league is. Anybody can beat anybody on a given day. So I'm most excited about having a senior-dominated team, and let's go. This is it, guys. Let's have fun, and let's go play ball.
So obviously your last game of the season last year, you did lose to South Central in the sectional final 2-1. So I'm sure that left a bad taste in your mouth. So what were you able to take from that game and try to transport it?
Well, I tell you what, we had to use our Kaiden and Alex are 1A and 1A. They're our 2 number 1 pitchers, and we had to use both of them in the sectional semi. And we got that win. And then our number 3 pitcher, Clay Green, what we took away from that game is that Clay pitched his tail off. He pitched his tail off. Clay had been up and down a little bit consistency-wise, but he just proved that he is, one of our top 3 pitchers and that we can throw him out there. So what I gained from that game is, number 1, we can compete with anybody, and then number 2, that we have, I'm really confident in our top 5 pitchers that we have, that they're all coming back, they all have innings pitched, and that's, what we can take away from that.
Well, thank you very much for coming out tonight, Coach. We would like to remind you one final time that this show is brought to you in part by Vince Ponziani and Associates at Waycraft Industries, Rod Steiger and Associates at the Pizza Hut, Bucyrus and Gallion, host of our show since 1992. The Burkhardt family at Burkhardt Farm Sales, your KHIH dealer on the Manette New Winchester Road. Coming up next, we will have the Winford softball program.